Today's update could be one of the most important messages you hear this year. For months, lawmakers have been debating changes to Social Security, and finally the numbers are on the table. Payments that once averaged around $1,976 are now set to rise all the way to $3,559. On the surface, that sounds like incredible news.
It really does. I mean, for seniors and people living on a fixed income, an increase of that size could be life-changing. Imagine being able to catch up on overdue bills, pay for a long-postponed doctor's visit, or even set aside a little emergency fund for the first time in years. But, and here's the twist, hidden inside this same update is a new rule that could delay October 2024 checks for millions of people, even those who qualify for this increase.
Exactly, and that's where the real story begins. Because it's not just about bigger numbers on paper, it's about whether those payments actually land in people's bank accounts on time. For many seniors, Social Security isn't a bonus, it's survival. They plan their groceries, their rent, even their medicine around that specific deposit date.
And that's what makes this so critical. People are hearing about the $1,976 boost to $3,550 and feeling a sense of hope, but then they hear about direct deposit delays, and suddenly the excitement turns into stress. Bigger checks don't mean much if they show up late.
To really understand this, we need to look at how Social Security payments are scheduled. The system is tied to birth dates, with some people getting paid on the first of the month and others on specific Wednesdays. Those calendars are published every year by the Social Security Administration so recipients can plan ahead.
Right, but the schedule only matters if the money actually hits on time. If a check is delayed by even a day or two, that's a real problem. We're talking about seniors living week to week, where a late payment could mean missed prescriptions, late fees, or even eviction notices.
And complicating this even more are the new rules we're hearing about for October. The SSA has been tightening identity verification and adjusting how direct deposits are processed. On paper, that sounds like a good move to fight fraud, but in practice it may slow things down for people who've done everything right.
Think about it. If your bank account details aren't up to date, or if there's even a small mismatch in records, that deposit could be flagged for a review. Instead of seeing your money on time, you could be waiting days. And when you rely on every single dollar, that delay feels like disaster.
That's the tension here. On one side, we have this long-awaited increase, nearly doubling benefits for some people. On the other side, we have stricter processing that could block or delay the very money people are counting on. That mix of hope and risk is why we need to go deeper.
And deeper we will, so let's break this down, step by step, and see exactly what this bill means, how the new rules could affect your payments, and most importantly, what you can do to protect yourself.
When you hear the numbers, $1,976 rising to $3,559, the first natural response is hope. What would that extra money mean for someone living on a fixed budget? It might mean catching up on overdue rent, finally affording a doctor's visit without having to choose which bill not to pay, or setting aside a small emergency fund for the first time in years. It's the kind of raise that can restore dignity and ease daily decisions that many seniors and disabled beneficiaries face constantly. But under that headline smile, there's a second, sharper sentence not everyone notices at first. Changes to how payments are processed could delay that money, and delays are not just an inconvenience. For many, they're dangerous. This tension between a larger check and uncertain delivery creates a stress that no number alone can fix. To understand how someone could get a bigger check but still be worse off in the short term, you need to know how Social Security payments arrive. The agency uses a schedule tied to birth dates and to program rules. Some people receive payments on the first of the month, others on a specific Wednesday determined by their birth date, and there are special rules for people who began receiving benefits before certain dates. Those payment calendars are published by the Social Security Administration so people can plan, but a schedule only matters if the deposit actually posts to your bank on the expected day. Historically, the SSA has recommended allowing a few extra mailing or processing days if you don't see the funds, but many recipients live week to week and can't absorb any delay without immediate consequences. Complicating this further are the changes we're hearing about to direct deposit processing and identity verification. The SSA has been tightening identity-proofing rules and adjusting how quickly direct deposit changes are processed, framing these steps as necessary to protect beneficiaries from fraud and from unauthorized account changes. On paper, stronger verification is sensible. It helps stop criminals who try to siphon off someone's lifetime of contributions. In practice, however, stricter checks sometimes create extra verification steps or temporary holds that slow the path from the SSA's approval to the money landing in your account. For people who rely on that first-of-the-month deposit to pay essential bills, even a 1 or 2 day hold can ripple into late fees, missed refills on prescriptions, or threats of eviction. There's also documented evidence that direct deposit changes have produced real-world problems. Audits and oversight reports have found cases where payments were misdirected after changes made over the phone or through other channels, and those incidents prompted the agency to adjust procedures in the months that followed. In some reviews, auditors noted instances tied to direct deposit updates that occurred around October of certain years, the kind of administrative noise that can accidentally entangle legitimate beneficiaries in fraud prevention sweeps. That's why many advocates and offices are sounding the alarm. The goal should be to stop criminals without turning verification into a roadblock for people who have done everything right. So, what does all this mean for someone who sees a headline about a $1,583 jump in benefits, but reads another line about deposit rules and processing changes? It means planning and verification become the immediate priority. If your monthly budget assumes that money will appear in your bank on a specific day, the safest move is to confirm that your direct deposit information is current and exact. The routing number, the account number, and the name on the account must match Social Security records. It also means checking for any notices from the SSA, from your bank, or from trusted advocacy groups. Small mismatches in spelling or an old account that's been closed can trigger verification flags that hold up payment, and those kinds of technicalities are the last thing someone should be worrying about when a major increase is promised. Let's be honest about the trade-offs. Strengthening protections reduces theft and abuse, and that's good for the system long-term. But every protective layer inserted into a payout process adds a small chance that a legitimate payment will be delayed. For beneficiaries who have fought through decades of paperwork, worked for their benefits, and now count on them for basic survival, the idea of additional hoops is deeply stressful. The public conversation needs to keep both realities in view, celebrate and examine the benefits increase, and simultaneously demand operational clarity so the money actually reaches recipients when it's supposed to. Policymakers can't have one without the other. Increased benefits without reliable delivery translates into promises that feel hollow on payday. Personal stories make these abstract policy issues concrete. Imagine a widow on a fixed income who budgets down to the last dollar. She hears that her monthly Social Security could nearly double, and she imagines a future where she can pay her heating bill and take her medication without worrying. Then October rolls around and the bank shows no deposit on the expected date because of an identity check on a direct deposit change she made 2 months earlier. That week of uncertainty can lead to skipped medications, calls from creditors, and sleepless nights. Or think about a disabled veteran who needs that check to maintain adaptive equipment. A delayed deposit could mean missed repairs or interrupted care. These are not hypothetical anxieties. Audits and reporting show these scenarios play out in real lives when administrative changes intersect with delivery problems. What should individuals do right now to protect themselves? First, log into your official Social Security account and confirm your payment method and account details. If you don't have an online account, call or visit a Social Security office or ask a trusted family member to help. Check with your bank to ensure your account is active and in good standing. Even small restrictions or closed accounts can bounce or delay deposits. Keep records. If you speak to a bank or SSA representative, note the date, the person's name, and any confirmation number. Finally, watch for official communications from the SSA. The agency publishes payment calendars and news updates that can explain changes in processing or timing. These steps can reduce the risk of an unexpected holdup and give you early warning if something needs fixing. Advocacy and community action matter here too. Senior centers, legal aid clinics, and advocacy organizations often have the tools to help people check their accounts and fix discrepancies. If you or someone you know faces repeated problems, reach out to those local resources. Ask your representatives for clearer timelines and stronger safeguards that prioritize beneficiaries' access to funds while still combating fraud. Public pressure has produced improvements in the past. Policymakers respond when they see that delays cause real harm to real people, and that better communication or slightly different procedures could prevent those harms without opening the door to criminals. As we wait to see how any bill and its implementation play out, the emotional reality is worth repeating. For millions, Social Security is not optional, it's survival. A larger check promises comfort and dignity, but the mechanics of getting that money into a bank account matter just as much as the number at the top of the statement. The best-case scenario is simple. The boost arrives and posts on schedule, and people spend it on health, food, and security. The worst-case scenario is equally simple. Money is approved but delayed, leaving people stranded between hope and hardship. Our public conversation should be loud enough to demand both generous benefits and reliable delivery. In the end, preparation is the practical power people have. Confirm your information, keep your paperwork, talk to your bank, and stay alert to official SSA notices. Demand accountability from the agencies and elected leaders who write the rules and run the systems. Because when a promise of $1,976 to $3,259 is made, what people really need is this: not only a bigger check, but confidence that the check will arrive when they need it. That combination, higher benefits plus dependable delivery, is what restores trust, dignity, and real security to the millions who count on Social Security every month.